2024 is going to be the biggest year for elections in history. There's going to be 4 billion people across 50 countries that will be going to the polls. And we kick the year off with Taiwan on the 13th of January. So, Dean, the US and Taiwan have been mentioned a lot on the investment desk has been two of the most crucial elections. I can understand the US, but can you tell us why Taiwan's so important?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tom. So the importance of the Taiwanese election might not be obvious at first glance, but the country is a strategic hub of trade, shipping, and technology. If you can believe it, nearly half of the world's container fleet passes through the Taiwan Strait, and they produce over 60% of the world's semiconductors, including over 90% of the most advanced chips.
That is an astonishing amount from one country to basically dominates the manufacture of semiconductor chips. Even Nvidia, the chip maker, their CEO said that the US is some years off chip independence. So for now, it seems like we're reliant on Taiwan for that manufacturing. I understand that importance, but then how does that really have a bearing on the elections? Will the elections influence the ability to manufacture chips?
So voters will effectively be choosing between either re-electing the incumbent president from the DPP party. So these guys have historically favored closer ties with the US and been a pro-independence party when it comes to China. Alternatively, they could select the opposition candidate from the KMT party. They've historically preferred stronger engagement with China. So the outcome of the election result is going to have quite an impact on the region insofar as geopolitical relationships with China and then also potentially tensions between the US and China.
Okay, and what are the polls indicating so far?
Okay, according to recent polling, the DPP, so that's the pro-independence, pro-US party, lead with 32% support. Now, to understand the importance of this, you slightly need to step back and think about China's ambitions. They've been aiming for a reunification, as they call it, of Taiwan and China, believing the two to be one country. In fact, President Xi at the beginning of this year even called it a historic inevitability. So were the DPP to come in, it might increase tensions in the region because their longer term aspirations lie elsewhere.
And sometimes when we say stuff like increasing tensions, it's quite vague, isn't it? So what really do we mean when we say increasing tensions in the region?
It's not immediately clear what any action would entail. The reason being there's significant risks to both sides of any escalation in tensions. It would almost certainly draw in other major powers, particularly, say, the US, who have a long established presence in the region. I guess looking at this from a market's perspective, one really hopes that any escalation will be avoided, given that stability in Taiwan is important, firstly for chip production, but also for trade.
Okay, so let's hope then that the stability is maintained. And it does feel like whenever there's a quiet year, people sort of focus on geopolitical risks if there's nothing else to focus on. But it does feel like this year's a bit different, given there are so many elections and there's quite a wide opportunity set. So it does feel like this year's a little bit different. Dean, thanks so much for your time today. And of course, thanks everyone for watching. And we'll be back again next week with another episode.